Hey YouTube, welcome to Herbie's Reef. Today we're going to do a long-awaited update. The tank is okay right now. We are currently treating with fluconazole for a second time, so you'll notice some cyano and I think even a little bit of dino as we look around. And that happened to me last time too, and I think it's just whenever you dose with fluconazole, at least in my tank, it seems to bring these things on. If you look at the tips of the Homewrecker, you'll see just a little bit. But I can clear it up real quick with a UV sterilizer, and we'll be back in business. I've recently started water changes again, so hopefully the fluconazole will be on its way out, although I am going to keep just a very low level of fluconazole in my water at all times, at least for the foreseeable future, hopefully to keep this bryopsis from coming out. I read on Reef to Reef that a lot of people are keeping a 1/10 dosage in there, and it's working well, so I'm going to try that. But whenever I dose, I've noticed my acros don't like it. This one had nice yellow tips before, and they're still a little yellow, but they don't look good. All the tips are kind of burned and have cyano and dino going on them. This happened last time. The odd thing is, last time this is my Walt Disney, and it totally lost polyp extension on the last treatment, and this time it hasn't. This is my Palmer's Blue, and my understanding is these are sensitive corals, and this one has never even given it a second thought. Like it doesn't seem to care at all. And then this one is the worst hit. This is a newer frag that we got from Worldwide Corals, and this is it's called a Grizzly Adams, and it definitely didn't like the fluconazole. It looked great before, and the tips are burned, and I hope it'll make it, but not looking too good. We have this fish back here. This is a copper band that we've been trying to get one of these in this tank for a while, and we saw him at our local fish shop, and he eats, and he had already been through 3 weeks of copper there, and so we put him in, but our yellow tang is a jerk, and so he's been just staying right here for about 4 days. I'm hopeful that because the yellow tang isn't tearing him up or anything, he just chases him over here every time. I'm hopeful that eventually he'll come out and be all right. But looking, you can tell even our green slimer is not terribly happy. It's got the tips look a little bad, and it doesn't have the polyp extension it normally does. This is one we lost last time. This is a Mega Man from Frag House Corals, and it grew back from just a dot on the rock, and has come back to that in a matter of months. And then this is our Homewrecker. A lot of you have asked for an update on this, and this is the sad looking Homewrecker. It looked so good before I dosed this fluconazole. It was growing these branches in the lower part, and it was growing every day, and it had colored up a little bit, but as soon as I put the fluconazole in, it just hasn't looked the same. Then down here is our Matte V Rainbow Envy. This one is, for me, has been a very happy coral. It doesn't color up with all the stuff I've got in the tank, but it has grown, and it always has good polyp extension. And then when we went to Aquashella, we got this. This is a Raja Rampage, and it has grown a whole lot since we put it in. One of our fish fragged this one for us. This is our Jason Fox Solar Flare. So I put the other piece in the frag tank, and then have this piece here. And that's our Pink Floyd. This is a Frag House Corals Purple Poison. This is a Limelight, and then this one is a Yellow Tips. And then we've decided to focus on SPS on this side, although if they keep giving me trouble, I may just go to an all LPS tank. I'm just tired of always worrying about these things, but I love the clam, and that's the original reason we put SPS over here. So as long as he's living and the SPS are doing okay, we're going to stick with it. But if they start giving me too much trouble with all the fluconazole and the different things, I'm just going to switch it to an LPS tank. Over here, we've decided to make it all gonoporas and LPS. So this is our Duncan colony that we started out with 3 heads, and then this is an Aura Gonopora, the red one, and next to it's just a one we got at the fish shop. I don't think it's anything special. But I had wanted an Aura Gonopora for a long time, and I finally ordered one directly from them. Live Aquaria handled the sale for me, but I emailed Aura and said I haven't been able to find one, and I've always wanted one, and they arranged it through Live Aquaria. But then when I got it and it opened up, I realized that it looks exactly like this other one I have. So I think now I have 2 Aura Gonoporas, but that's okay. We'll just grow 2. This is one that came free with another Gonopora we had, and it's from Unique Corals. And then we got this green one at Aquashella, and it had about 2 polyps on it when we got it, and now it's doing well. It's a long tentacle, but it's still settling, still growing, and it'll eventually get there. But I can't wait to see how that one's going to look when it gets bigger. And then this is a crazy one we got at Aquashella. It's a short tentacle, but it's got this bright pink, and the camera doesn't really do it justice. But it's got blue, like it's a blue section, and then just this hot pink color next to it. So I really like that one. And then this is a Gonopora that's just been through it with for us, and I think it's got a piece of Dino floating on it. I don't know if that's Dino or if that's Cyano, I'm not sure, but anyways, it's got something floating on it. But this one almost died on us several times, and it has bounced back and is looking pretty good now. And this, unfortunately, is the Jason Fox Goni that we got at Matna. It was an expensive Goni. I think he called it the Tony the Tiger. It was short tentacle, and I accidentally dripped some Aptasia treatment on it, and it died. So that's a big loss. And then coming over to our favorite section of the tank, this is our Gonopora. The purple one in the back is one we grew out from a $15 frag, and it's huge. I finally lost that other one that I think when we had 10 in the tank, it was next to the purple one, and it was huge, but it just didn't agree with the 10 in the tank. So we lost it. Then this one right here is our very favorite coral now. This is the Amazeballs Goni from Unique Corals. And this is a high-end, expensive coral, but we love this thing. The camera doesn't do it justice. It is amazing color, and I love the long tips on the flowers. It's just a really cool coral. So if anyone ever has a chance to get one of these, I highly recommend it. It's the nicest piece in the tank. And then coming over here, this is the Space Glitter from Unique Corals, and finally this is an Alveopora we picked up at Aquashella, and it must be a fast grower because this one was maybe 3 or 4 polyps when we got it, and that's only been a few months ago. So that's most of the tank. The fish are all doing well, and except for that copper band. Hopefully he'll be doing well eventually. Got lots of zoas on the back wall, and still have our green star. And that's it for this big tank, but I'll take you and show you an update on our nano tank that we have made, mostly torches and a few other things. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll see you over there in a second. Okay everyone, this is our little nano tank. It's an Aquamax that we drilled ourselves, and then we put it on a Home Depot cabinet and then just put a sump there. And it runs, as opposed to my other tank, which has almost every piece of equipment on it you can get. This one doesn't have an apex. It's just got a temperature controller, and I dose Kalkwasser through the ATO, and it's a pretty simple tank. It does have a Radeon and then a screen on it, and then the auto feeder. But we decided we wanted a tank to display mainly torches. Probably eventually these candy canes are going to go. And then we'll keep these. That's a frog spawn we've had forever, that pink one. The hammer next to it is also, we grew that from one head, and you can see it's got a few dead heads on it. As crazy as this is, this tank also had an issue with tin. Because this is a Home Depot cabinet, I didn't think about the fact that all the runners for this drawer right here were metal, and they were rusting and dripping back in the tank and putting tin in the water. So we lost a lot of our LPS that we'd had a really long time. This hammer back here, I think it'll probably ultimately die, but it is mostly gone, and we had it since the very beginning of our reef keeping. So it's kind of unfortunate, but I guess a lesson learned. So we've got these two that we've had forever, and then these candy canes were just fragged off of our candy cane from the other tank. And then we've got a frog spawn here that we got at Aquashella. This is an Indonesian green on purple frog spawn, or purple on green, green with purple tips. And then this is a torch we got at Aquashella. This one's an Australian torch, and it's not as open, like it doesn't love the blue lights. It kind of likes the AB plus spectrum a little more, and it's evening time right now, so it gets a lot prettier and a lot more open, but still just has really nice color. Probably the nicest colors of any of the LPS we have. Although these are beautiful too. These are both from cherry corals. This one he calls a 21 tails torch, and it's an Indonesian torch. We just got this maybe a week ago, but it's doing really well. It's supposedly one head, but I think it's splitting already. And then this one we got at the same time, and this one he calls just a golden torch, and it's also an Indonesian torch. We can't wait for those to grow out. We're gonna get a green one and put it up here, and then I want to get an elegance, but Emily's not so sure on the elegance. She says it's going to get too big for this tank. We kept trying them in the other tank, but it was when we had the high 10 levels, and it kept dying. But I'd like to get one from cherry corals because I hear his are almost bulletproof. So this tank is doing pretty well for right now. We did lose those other corals. Here's another hammer that we had forever. This thing was almost 10 heads, and it's down to this. I'm hoping this one last head may live because it's an Indonesian hammer, and I know the hammers aren't as sought after as the torches, but I'd still like to keep it if we could. And it was one that was a really bright, nice bright hammer, not as much of a splatter hammer. It was almost pure, just a really bright green. So it was looking great, but the 10's done a number on this one too. And then this tank is just, it's doing pretty well, but besides the 10, we also have these. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but there are flatworms just all over the place. And I bought some flatworm exit to use, but I can't make myself use it. I'm scared. So you guys tell me what experience you have, but I have so many flatworms. They're in here, they're in the sump, they're everywhere. And I'm kind of nervous just that I won't get them all, and that the dying off flatworms will ultimately kill my fish or my corals. And so I've been trying to do it naturally. I've ordered from Live Aquaria some of the nudibranchs that only eat flatworms, and they stayed in this tank and they got real fat for about 2 days. And then I think they both went down the drain. I found one of them in the sump. I hope he's still there eating flatworms, but definitely we're not doing the job on it that I had hoped for. And then I bought this 6-line wrasse. He's in here somewhere. And I have a target mandarin. Those are both supposed to eat them, and neither one has, I mean, they might be eating them, but they're certainly not controlling them. And I keep buying yellow wrasses to put in here, but these two clowns are ornery, and the yellow wrasses that Live Aquaria sends me are tiny, and these clowns will just drag them around till they're almost dead. So if you saw the yellow wrasse in the big tank, he was one that was not doing well in this tank, so I put him in there, and he's done well in the other tank, but he's not helping my flatworms that way. So I think what I'm probably going to do is get a Millinaris wrasse, because they're a little more, in my experience, they fight a little harder than the yellow wrasses do. And I'm hoping that he'll be ornery enough to put up with the clowns, and maybe I can get one that's a little bit bigger. The problem with that is I don't think it'll be a permanent addition, because he will outgrow this tank quickly. But if he can at least control the flatworms, and I don't know, I don't have this tank heavily stocked with fish. I've only got the 2 clowns, the flame angel, and the clown goby. I've got the shrimp goby here, and then I have some shrimp. Oh, and the 6-line wrasse and the target mandarin. Too bad. I'm hoping maybe the Millinaris would be happy in here, but if not, ultimately I'll have to sell him or something. But if he'll at least get rid of my flatworm problem, that'd be awesome. Or maybe I'll break down and dose flatworm exit. You guys tell me what you think on that, if anyone's had any good or bad experiences. That's it for now. We will update soon with a video on equipment and try to show you guys the equipment I'm using on the other tank. And until then, you guys like and subscribe and keep on reefing.